Calypso, great to see you. Thanks for taking a bit of time out. I know you're running around like a headless chicken because you were just telling me about it. So I appreciate you taking time to come and have a chat with me. I want to start by asking you about something that you said to me last time we spoke. You said, and I think this is a really interesting idea, you said to me, entrepreneurship is probably going to be the most important life skill for young people to develop. Now, I think that's a really interesting idea, but it's kind of not really at the heart of the kind of current curriculum, either in schools or universities, is it? So just tell us a bit about what you mean by that and why is that important to you, and just explore that a little bit more for people.
Well, I think entrepreneurship as a life skill is going to be vital because as jobs get cut, as there's more portfolio careers, you're going to have to know how to run your own business, whether it's even just your personal brand. It's going to be vital to get ahead and to forge your own path.
Yeah. And what, I mean, how did you reach that conclusion? I mean, I know you've had a series of businesses. I mean, how did you, make the jump from I want to be an entrepreneur, which is what you're doing, to actually this is what's so important for the future? And how did you kind of connect those two dots up?
Well, you can just see with all the what's it called the job apocalypse that they're talking about with the introduction of AI that you're going to have to forge your own path. And the more people that I speak to, the more you find out that they've got two or three jobs, or they're at a job that they're not that happy with, and they've got a side hustle,
Mm.
which is bringing in extra revenue, but it's also bringing them purpose.
Yeah. And the idea of the jobs apocalypse, I mean, what's your take on that?
It's a really good headline. Um, I mean, it looks good in the papers, and I think it's all just coming unfolded now. But you are speaking to students. I'm speaking to students at the moment, and they're applying for hundreds of jobs and just getting rejections left, right, and centre. Although it's very easy to apply for a job, through Indeed and places like that. It's just sort of click and play. So they're applying for lots of jobs that aren't maybe relevant, or applying for hundreds more than they might have done in the past. So getting a lot more rejections.
Yeah. And is that, let me just explore that because I was talking to somebody the other day who had 8,000 applicants for one of their jobs, right? Which is extraordinary, really. Is that because there aren't the jobs there, or is that because the way that we recruit is so fragmented now? I mean, if you were to take me as a for instance, I mean, I couldn't get all of my experience. I mean, I'm an old fella. I couldn't get all of my experience on one side of A4. And if I did, it would be a series of bullet points, which was not going to tell anyone anything useful. So I wonder whether the processes that we have to recruit people are so poor that it's very difficult to stand out and to match exactly what employers are looking for. So is it the process or is it that there aren't the jobs there?
Well, I mean, I'm not a recruiter, but I keep hearing these stories about
Yeah.
AI is scanning the It's very easy to apply for a job, and they're getting 8,000 applicants, and then AI is scanning them. So anyone sort of quirky and a bit different, they get axed straight away, and they're just looking for the certain keywords. And then people are having AI interviews, and they are replying with an AI teleprompter, and then they are getting the job, but not turning up to the job because they know they can't do the job. Um, so that was a bizarre story that I heard. They'd employed
Yeah.
five people and only three people turned up for it because the other two knew that they couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, I've heard similar stories actually, which is
Yeah.
quite worrying, isn't it? But that is as much about the process as about
I think, yeah, the process, yeah.
the nature of the jobs. I mean, I've spoken to other people who have said, actually, I think AI is going to, is going to enhance the workplace because it enables people to do more. So, is it that you don't need those people, or is it that that the future is to enhance people and enable people to do more using AI? I mean, what's your take on that?
I think that people are going to be doing more using AI, but they're also going to they're going to be expected to do more, but they're also going to burn out more
Yeah.
because it's just all too much. Really, what you want in an ideal world is what I would like is to be able to achieve more and work a little bit less and have, your hobbies and all those creative things that makes you human.
Yeah, yeah. And you're doing some interesting stuff to try and resolve some of those problems. I mean, just talk us through the things that you're doing.
Just launched a business called OffScriptGen, which is a place. At the moment, it's a summit in January where young people and the adults that guide them can come and talk about the future. We've got 35 big name speakers. We've got one-to-one workshops where young people can go in and either find out about help with their next steps or help with their CV or learn about how to start a business. And that's happening over 2 days at the Royal Geographical Society in London. And then from there, we want to do lots of smaller events throughout the year. And, it's really about starting a conversation. I was at a careers fair the other day, and I just thought, this just doesn't work. It's all there for the universities to hand out leaflets. Probably like 1% of the kids were actually engaged. Everyone was just faffing about. And it just didn't really seem right for the world that we're moving into or we're in.
Yeah. And why is that important to you? I mean, it's an interesting business idea, but why is that important to you? I mean, is that your background careers?
I've always so I started my first business at 22, which was an accessories and giftware company, and was sort of ITV's Young Entrepreneur of the Year by 23. And from there, I always went into schools and talked about entrepreneurship and helped young people, and was just really enjoyed it and loved talking about my journey and saw the difference it made. I'd still, after doing a talk at a school, I'd still get messages from students 2 or 3 years down the line saying how that inspired their journey.
Right.
So I did that, and then I had another business called the Institute, which I actually sold about 6 months ago, which was experiences. And now I feel I've got to a certain age in my life where I want to give back more.
Right. And this next business is that process for you, is it?
Yes. I always seem to do businesses that really resonate with me at the time. And I'm a co-founder. I've got another founder as well, called John Gordon, who started the How To Academy, which is big name speakers at venues around London. And he recently sold his business too. So We've come together to bring this together.
Okay. So tell us about how you're going to develop this business. I mean, give us this sense of where you're going with it.
Well, we've got the RGS event, and then we've got another one coming up at Vision Hall in King's Cross. And we'll be doing micro events from there. And then hopefully we're developing an AI tool as well, which is aimed at young people, where young people can actually talk to it rather than it being more of a top-down tool, like a lot of programs seem to be for careers. It's kind of older people, older generation telling them what they should do. And we feel that, it needs to come from the ground up, if that makes sense. And also want to work on, inspiring more entrepreneurship and really helping that area, but that's all work in progress.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on around supporting young people to become entrepreneurs, isn't there? I mean, what is it in particular that makes your approach different?
Well, when we've got a bit further down the line, I'll be able to let you know on that one.
Keeping it quiet. Okay.
Quiet for the moment.
Okay. So tell us, let's just talk about how you see your job as the CEO. So I always think that the most critical person in a business is the CEO. It's their sort of vision, if you like, that drives it forward. They're the people that build the team. I mean, what's your take on being the CEO?
Well, they sort of build the culture, don't they?
Yeah.
I was talking to a CEO the other day who said that there's just no creativity in their business at all. And then you work in the company for 5 minutes and you can see exactly why there's no creativity. So it has to come from the CEO. I think as a CEO, it's really important, to give your people that work with you autonomy. And that's, I found, has always worked. All my companies have been really small, so I've needed that from my point of view as well. What else? I thought of something else a minute ago and I can't remember now.
One of the things that was behind my question was whether you're going to whether you see yourself employing some of those young people that you come across.
Yeah, well, we do. We've got young people coming. We've got young people coming to work at the event. that we've met through universities. So a lot of the content creation and also giving us feedback on how we can make the event better. And I've been working with this charity called 2020 Levels, which support underrepresented young people become entrepreneurs. And I asked them, they've all been applying for tickets as well. And I've asked them to tell me what they wish adults knew about the future of work for them.
And what sort of thing? Sorry, that's quite interesting. What sort of things have they been saying?
What do they say? Oh, one person, brilliant, said that she wished that adults knew that if we invested more in them, our futures would look brighter.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I mean, whether that would happen is another matter, isn't it? But yeah, and what other sorts of things have they been telling you? I mean, it must have been really interesting conversations talking to youngsters about that. I mean, how they perceive those things.
I think they feel that they're not being listened to,
Right.
and that things are moving really fast, and that we're not listening.
Do
And
you
that
think that's true? Do you think that business people are not listening to? I mean, do you think that's true?
I think there's a big gap between, maybe there's not enough conversation being had. They think that they've got Gen Z in the office and they're being quiet and surly when really they're being misunderstood and not listened to.
Right. Right.
What do you think?
Well, that's an interest. I was just thinking about that. I mean, it's an interesting question, really, because businesses are often so driven by the founder or the CEO. Other people, I don't think it's unusual to say that other people struggle to contribute to that, and I often think businesses don't have the right kinds of processes built in so that other people can contribute to that. And it's very easy to say. It's much more difficult to do. Would be my take on it.
I know. I've been exploring reverse mentoring, which was
Yeah.
really interesting. Which is, I think, a great scheme to put into the workplace. Also, the problem is that a lot of the people that are meant to be guiding the young people in the offices aren't coming into the offices because they're hybrid working. So the young people haven't got anyone to learn from.
Yeah.
So it's really important that companies put in place proper mentoring time, because otherwise it just doesn't work. I actually did hear a story the other day from I think it was Amazon, and they had this apprenticeship scheme and it wasn't working. And then they got, I think it was Charity Bernardo's went in and put in a mentorship scheme into Amazon, and it totally transformed the apprenticeship scheme. And young people were sticking there instead of just wanting to quit after a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting you say that. I had a younger mentor some years ago, and it was very, very helpful to understand how a different bit of the world understands things. I mean, she saw some of the things we were talking about in very different terms from me. And it's not just about different politics. It's just a different perspective on it. And it's actually very, very helpful. I certainly found it very helpful.
Yeah.
And very interesting to hear those different perspectives. But I think, I mean, businesses are not. I mean, if you were to go to business school, they don't teach you to do those things, do they?
No, it'll be the company with the most empathy that will win out in the end.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. So,
Or
okay,
the opposite.
well, yeah, I mean, the businesses with a lot of
loads of AI.
well, it's businesses that are well resourced that win out in the end, in my view. But that's perhaps the economist in me. Tell me about the way you're using tech. I mean, AI. I mean, it's at a fairly early stage at the moment. I mean, how are you using it? How do you see it playing out in the future?
How are we using it? Well, we're building an AI tool, which isn't easy. So it's just been really interesting doing the whole process. And yeah, it's not as simple as you might think it is. Using AI in every day, we use it to record conversations and then create more content. And but
Right.
it's really, I think it's important that when you're using AI, that you've got someone who's got taste, who can filter it all out and improve, and
Mm.
not just put out more slop into the world. It's got to have a purpose.
Yeah. And what sort of impact are you trying to have by using AI? I mean, give us a sense of the direction here.
Um, well, at the moment, we're using it to create conversation.
Right.
Um, yeah. So, I mean, OffScript we only launched in April.
Right.
So just yeah.
And when you talk about using it to create conversations, what sort of conversations? I mean, just give us a practical example of how that would work.
So, how have I used AI? Okay, so I had a conversation with a charity the other day, and it was an hour-long conversation. And I recorded the conversation using Granola, which is a brilliant app. And then from that, I created a LinkedIn post, three LinkedIn posts actually from that conversation, which one of them I think got maybe 200 comments on it or something
Wow.
from, from about where's the Saturday job gone? And it really, got everyone interested. Um, so that's been really useful.
Yeah.
And yeah, and also it just makes you think about the problem more.
Yeah. And presumably, and tell me if I've got this wrong, but presumably, if you're trying to engage with younger people, the vehicle to do that has got to be through social media. I mean, is that how you're engaging with, because you're engaging with quite large numbers, aren't you? I mean,
Yeah, at the moment. So we've been the difficulty with the business with OffScript at the moment is that we are selling tickets, and we're selling tickets to the parents.
okay.
So we've got two different audiences, which is always more complicated. And we are launching our TikTok later this week, which will be talking to young people. And actually, we've got a project that we're running called the Backing Room, where we are asking young people to submit a video on how we can help with their next step. So actual
Right.
practical, like look at their CV or their portfolio, or maybe we can make an introduction, because we've got an amazing network of speakers and entrepreneurs, and we're all entrepreneurs within the business. So then we'll pick the top 20 for now, people that pitch us, and we will help them with their next steps. So actual practical help.
Okay. And if
Um,
somebody comes to you and says, I really want to be an entrepreneur, I mean, how do you help move that forward?
um, I think you have to find out what their purpose is and what they're trying to do, and what problem they're trying to solve. Um, and just take them through. I mean, some of like the really basic steps, whether it's doing a lean canvas business plan, um, how much funding they need. And I believe that you don't need huge amounts of funding to get something up and off the ground. You just got to go small, test it, and believe in yourself 100%, and believe in what you're selling. Because then when you're actually selling that product or your brand, or you're really passionate about it, and people buy into your story.
Yeah. And well, it's interesting you say that about believing yourself. I mean, one of the things that strikes me that is difficult around working with young people is that not all of them do believe in themselves. I mean,
Mm.
how do you overcome that challenge? Because if there's a bunch of people that are held back because of belief, you know, they're completely excluded from the opportunities that come with being an entrepreneur, aren't they? I mean, how do you overcome that particular issue?
Mm. If, I mean, they've got to know that failure is okay,
Hmm.
that you've just got to give it a go. And then when you start selling, one unit, 10 units, you'll start believing that you can do it. But I think knowing that it's okay to fail, and that's the way you learn. I mean, at school, school's not set up for failure, is it?
No, I mean that was partly what's behind my question. I mean, schools do the opposite, don't they? I mean, they
They do the
create
opposite.
if you don't get the great exam results, if you don't, I mean, if you're not particularly good, you're not in the top tier. I mean, that's what schools are about. They're the opposite to what entrepreneurship's about.
Yeah, I know. and therein lies the rub.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's keep pushing. I mean, the government are going to be teaching, have put finance into the curriculum in 2028, 2029.
Right.
So that's a small step. And there are companies out there that are talking about entrepreneurship in schools. And I think maybe it's just telling young people that entrepreneurship is a route. I have been talking to a lot of schools, and it seems to be that many of the private schools talk about and futures and entrepreneurship, and then the state schools are very much talking about careers and a more linear, doctor, nurse, accountant.
Right. Okay. And why is that? I mean, why do you think that is the case?
Just haven't caught up yet, I guess, and haven't got the resources.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting shift in mindset, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
and one of the things that's very interesting about entrepreneurs is that the ones that you see that are really successful are pretty good at working with other people. They're good at building teams. They're good at engaging with customers and partners and stakeholders. I mean, in terms of young people participating in your sort of programs, I mean, how do they develop? How do you feel? How do you help them develop those skills? Because ultimately to build a big business, I mean, not everyone wants to build a big business, but if you want to build a big business, you've got to be able to work with a load of other people. So,
Yeah.
how does that shake down in your
I
situation?
mean, at the moment, we're very small with just freelancers. I think it's really important for young people to get into offices where there's lots of people and just learn from all the different roles,
Mm,
and make sure that they are getting you into the office, and they're not saying, "Oh, you can work from home 2 days, 3 days a week." You've got to be in there
mm,
to find out what you enjoy and learn how to communicate.
mm. So you're saying
And
people learn those skills from being part of groups. You don't have a structured process to enable that to develop those areas to develop.
well, I think my business is too small for that at the moment. And also I've never worked in a corporate company.
Right. Okay.
I've always started my own business since 22, and then after that I was unemployable.
Well, as are a lot of entrepreneurs, I think.
Yeah.
That's one of the outcomes, isn't it? Is that you end up thinking I could never work for anybody else. It would do my head in.
Yeah. Although I'm now part of a bigger team than I was maybe with the Institute, and it's quite nice sometimes being told what to do. They've always made all my own decisions. And
Right.
now, now a bigger team, we've got to make these decisions together. I'm like, oh, this is quite nice.
Mm. And what is it that you like about not having I mean, I like the opposite. I like to make all the decisions, mate.
I
But
know, but I've been doing that for 20 something years. It's quite nice to have a break. And then you've also got running of the household and making all the decisions there, and just, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
sometimes it's quite nice to let go.
yeah, yeah. No, I get that. So, in terms of where you're going, what sort of impact do you want to have? I mean, if you were to say 5 years down the road, what will you have achieved? I mean, give us a sense of that.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? At the moment, I'm just looking forward to, helping, if I can help 50 young people clarify their next steps,
Mm,
that would make me feel good. Um, and I would really like to get entrepreneurship into schools, say
mm,
5 years down the line. If we could get some kind of entrepreneurship curriculum, or just being taught, just letting them know that it's a career path, and
mm,
it's one that they might not have an option. They might have to have it as a career path.
mm.
Um, would be an amazing achievement.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting that you came up with that idea because I've felt for a while that if you come from a great family and you live in a great area and you've been to a great school and you go to a great university, you might get a great job. If you
That's
don't,
not the case anymore.
that's right. So if you don't come through that route, if you like, if you end up as a barista. I'm not knocking baristas, but it's not necessarily a great career. And it seems to me that the great thing about entrepreneurship is that all you need is an idea. And that idea is often about fixing a problem that somebody's got. You don't need anything beyond that. I mean, all the other stuff you can piece together. You just need a good idea, really. And it seems to me that that opportunity is going to be becoming increasingly important going forward.
Yeah. And you've got they keep talking about all the boomers that have their businesses that want to retire, that are sick of their businesses.
Yeah,
And that now that, the younger generations can come and take over, there's a massive opportunity there. And the businesses like all the trades businesses are going to be absolutely flying.
yeah. Yeah, no, there are. I mean, there's a huge amount of that transition starting to happen now because people,
Yeah.
people like old people like me are getting to the point where they want to exit the that the business world,
Mm.
which creates all, but that equally creates lots of opportunities for younger people potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And just knowing how to do it.
yeah. So, if you look back at your journey, then I mean, you've had a series of businesses. I mean, what would you say are the big things that you've learnt from your journey?
Um, Gosh, big things I've learned. I've never been very successful with agencies, marketing
Why'd you say
agents.
that? Why'd you say that?
I think that, why do I say that? I've always had a disaster. They've always cost me loads of money and I've never got any return. It's much better with using freelancers in house, um, and having more control over it, rather than just thinking that you're going to give them lots. You think, oh, an agency, they can just do everything. Here's all the money, crack on. um, that's been a learning curve.
Right.
I've made that error twice now.
So rather than employing an agency to do your marketing for you, for example, you would employ people in-house, freelancers
Yes.
in-house to work
Yeah.
and do stuff for you. Is that what you're saying? And why do you feel that's better? Why do you feel that's worked better?
Maybe because they care more.
Right.
Maybe I've never found the right agency, but it's always come unstuck some way or another. Um, that's I've learned that. I've learned so getting the right people in, getting the right people involved. Um, Also, when I had my first business, I was very much a creative, very much not on the numbers. And now you can get fractional, CFOs. So as a small business, if I started again, I'd get someone that just absolutely loved the numbers and the spreadsheets and that could walk me through as a startup.
Yeah.
Um, Even if it's someone that comes in, once or twice a month. So I did have with my last business, in the end, I had a very good accountant. So
Yeah.
they were helpful.
What you're saying is understanding the numbers is pretty important, isn't
Oh,
it?
it's pretty important, yeah.
And um, and has the journey changed you as an individual? Do you think you're a better CEO now than you were a few years back? I mean,
um, I've loved the adventure. So I've everything I've done with my, all my businesses is been about the adventure.
mm,
I'm not hugely motivated by making huge amounts of money. I've motivated by having the lifestyle that I want.
mm,
Um, so and that's become even more apparent the more things I've done. I think my first business, Clippy Kit, I wanted to be a multimillionaire, and I did so many trade shows, and I never saw any of my friends, and it was really really hard work, and all my money would just sit in stock in a warehouse somewhere.
mm,
And then after 10 years, I was like, oh, this is rubbish. And I got so much press, for relevance. I got 100% for actual, quality of life. It was very low. And then so with my next business, I totally threw that business model out of the window and started the Institute, which was really good cash flow. I could work from wherever I wanted. It didn't need me to get involved. It could be run by other people, if it had to be. And it was great building it while I had a small child. So that was perfect. And I managed to exit it.
mm. And
So,
what made you switch to the new one? I mean, why did you exit that to just, I mean, it sounds like a great gig. I mean, why did you decide not to do that anymore? What was the thing that shifted you to do the new?
I did it for 10 years. And I think B2C marketing is just going to get really hard and going to need, and I probably, to take it to the next steps, I needed either a huge amount of money or, someone else needed to come on board to take it to the next level.
Right.
And I didn't really have it in me.
Yeah. And do you feel those previous business experiences have made you a more astute entrepreneur for going forward? I mean, would you say you're got higher chances of success with this third business? I mean,
Definitely. Well, we've got a team now, and it's always just been me, on my own. But there's now sort of three co-founders, um, and yeah, I'm taking everything that I've learned from the other businesses, and they've all founded multiple businesses as well. So they're the experts on board. Um, so it's a change, and also it's just something I really believe in.
Mm.
Again, so I think with the other two businesses, it got to a stage after 10 years that I just didn't have I have the belief, but just not the same energy.
Mm. I mean, passion matters, doesn't it?
Yeah, passion really does matter. You can't just sell widgets because you think you're going to make some money on it.
Mm.
Not
I
I
think
can't.
I think passion also matters because it drives you to overcome the kind of inevitable problems. If you
Yes.
really care about the outcome that you're trying to achieve, I mean, you've got more oomph when it comes to dealing with the inevitable setbacks and problems that come your way. I mean, it's part of being an entrepreneur, isn't it? Is that stuff
Mhm.
goes wrong. I mean, it just does,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah. And the outcomes, at the moment, off script is not going to make us. I mean, it's definitely not going to make us money. It's going to cost us quite a lot of money. But the outcomes, if we can help some young people find their path, find their purpose, actually gets, develops some real skills that are going to help them, then I'm happy.
Yeah. And what, in terms of your development, I mean, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Listen to your accountant.
Or get a good accountant
Get a good
and
accountant
listen to them. Yeah.
and listen to them. Yeah. Um, oof. I might have to come back to you on that one.
Okay, well,
Podcast.
let me look at it a slightly different way. So if you were to go back to square one, if you were to start again, what would you do differently?
Um, I suppose I've always started businesses. I've always started businesses on very little money, and tested it and put the money back in. And then I had one business where I had quite a lot of money, and I just threw it all in and spent it in about a month, and then folded. So so I would always go back to starting with very very small seed capital
Hmm,
and testing and seeing what worked, and also being able to pivot and change
hmm.
your direction really quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep hammering away on something that isn't working.
So are you saying then that there have been points in your history when you should have pivoted and didn't? Is that what you're saying? Is that the lesson that you've learned?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is an interesting, I've asked a few people about this. How do you know when to pivot? Because the thing I always think is interesting about pivoting is that some stuff is working and some stuff isn't. And you have to make a judgment. Is that situation going to get a lot better or is it going to get a lot worse before you actually know? And then I mean, so how do you make the decision to pivot? I think it's a really interesting decision, that one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very intuitive. I do listen to my gut of whether I think this is working or not.
Right.
And once you've pivoted, you're not going to know, are you?
Hmm.
Whether you should have just hung
No.
on in there.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one.
Yeah. It interests me because it's such an important decision because it happens to so many people. But I don't think there is one. I certainly haven't found a way to work out when it's right.
No, is there a formula?
Yeah. Well, there
Some
might be. I haven't found it.
no.
And to come back to what you're trying to do, I mean, let me ask you this: what one piece of advice would you give to a young person that is thinking about setting up as an entrepreneur? I mean, what would be the most critical thing that you'd tell them?
Um, get as much experience in different industries. Even if after a short amount of time, and just start. Whether you don't have to start the business so it takes over your whole life.
Mm,
You can do it as a side hustle and see if you can get traction at the same time as working in another business, to get contacts, to get soft skills, to build your skill set. I mean, I think before the age of, say, 30, or maybe younger, you just need to keep on learning.
mm, mm. I mean, my first business was a side hustle, and it was very, very helpful. I learned a lot from what was a really small thing.
Hmm.
It taught me a lot, actually, and I think that's very good advice that you've just suggested to people. One final question before we wind up. I mean, AI is the big thing at the moment. I mean, how do you think it's going to shake down in your industry? I mean, there's a lot of change coming. What's your take on how that's going to, not in your business per se, but across the kind of the bit of the world that you're in?
Um, well, it's transforming a lot of jobs. I just wonder whether it's there's going to be a big backlash.
Right. And what
So
makes you say there might be a backlash? I mean, just explain that.
just as more of our lives get taken over with sort of AI slop, and people are going to want authenticity and real world connection.
Mm,
Um, because a bit like so with social media, people are turning away from social media, or the younger generations are, and they don't want to be constantly connected.
mm,
I think there will be some kind of backlash. Um, I think real life events and real world interaction is going to become more key.
mm. Yeah. I mean,
And
it'd be interesting to see how things shake down. Either way, it's going to be an interesting few years, wouldn't it?
yeah, it's going to be an adventure.
Yeah.
Hold on tight.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good point to make. Hold on tight. Calypso, thank you for taking a bit of time out to come and have a chat with us. Absolutely fascinating. Good luck with the events. I know they're just about to kick off. So, I mean, I'm sure you'll have a Christmas worrying about the event in January and making sure that everything's all right. But I do hope you get to enjoy Christmas, and I hope the event is a great event because if it works, if what you're doing works well, it'll have a really positive impact on lots of youngsters, and that's pretty good stuff.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, speak to you soon. Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye.